1587 Diana Banks's property. Starting with this little side garden, mostly raking out sycamore bark as it was all over the property. Not too much weeding to be done, still sycamore bark. Let's see, got back in there, gave it a good rake. Things are starting to grow. There's some really nice lilies, I believe. That's what those are, with the roses next to them. And over here in the farthest side, I didn't get to that little side garden, but this was all raked and weeded. Just a little bit of pruning, not too much. Nothing crazy. I guess this is all their neighbor's property, but right here I also raked out the sycamore bark and blew out the driveway, as well as this one right here. And then this is one of the two trees causing the bark. But Mr. Banks actually just cleaned up all the bark about half an hour ago, so that was pretty helpful. Just some of it blew into these garden beds still. These guys are not doing too hot. They're just definitely pushing some new growth here, but this one seems to be on the decline. Same with the middle one. Not really sure what we want to do about it. The soil is nice and moist every morning, so the irrigation's working. Gets a fair amount of shade from these trees. But weeded, raked, and fluffed right over here. Kind of just gonna see how this goes. Didn't want to chop it off because it would be an even bigger gap if I did, but maybe we'll see in a couple weeks how that's going. Trimmed back this kind of to create a nice line. Otherwise looking really good. Took out a lot of debris. Not too much dead. Yeah, the grasses. Same thing over here. Oregon grape is a nice, sizable, manageable size. Not too much deadheading, just weeding and raking. I think I pruned a little bit back there. Irrigation's doing well. The Rose of Sharon is blooming. The roses are still blooming too. Deadheaded lots of them earlier. Raked, weeded, and fluffed this area. And then in the back, or the side, looking pretty good. The bleeding hearts have dropped all of their hearts, and now the foliage is looking a little bit sad, which is sort of how these things go, but just kind of took back a little of it that was completely dried up. It kind of just recedes itself backwards. Alrighty, over here, lop down this back section, which the other two sections were already cut down. So now we just have this one hopeful trunk. And then back here, roses are looking great. Nice and small size right now. Not too many blooms, but that's all right. Raked and fluffed around. Mostly left this as it was. Didn't really have time to deal with it today, but I did kind of tidy up the edge here just so it looks a little cleaner. Overall, nice and wild. Tidied up the line, raked and fluffed this back area because it's just a big area by the patio. Pretty high visibility even though it's shaded. Some leaves blew in here, but same thing. Raked it all around. Did some pruning as well. Got some vines starting to encroach, but nothing crazy yet. These guys aren't doing too hot. I definitely took out a little bit of dead from them. Very interesting plant, all dried up. And the soil is incredibly dry over here as well, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know if I've ever seen this soil nice and wet. Kind of took back the shape here just because it was encroaching a little bit much onto the lawn, and then raked and fluffed all the way right until here. And that's it for the back side. We also have this glorious patio garden area with the planters and hydrangeas and more Rose of Sharon. Just got in here with the weeding and raking. Hydrangeas looking great. They really match the color palette. Nothing too startling. In this bed, we do have some black-eyed Susans, I believe, starting to pop up. And then this guy was really encroaching, so I took it back closer to the edge. Otherwise, same deal, raking, pruning, weeding. These guys are looking pretty great. Starting to drop their petals though. The lily of the Nile, I think that's what that is. The irrigation is working perfectly now. So they added a couple extra lines to these big ones, so we have really nice hydrangeas going. One of these plants on each of them was completely dead beyond hope, so I pulled it and kind of floofed that, that light green plant around it so you couldn't tell there's a gap. A little bit more sparse over here, but still nice and moist and healthy, and pruned or deadheaded all of the geraniums. Yeah, soil's good, looking fine. The begonias are getting a little droopy. Some of them had fallen and been pruned. Over here, nice and full. And then raked and fluffed this area because, hello, don't want to ignore it. But it is pretty empty still, just ready to go for whatever may happen here. And then this Virginia creeper, I think it is, I took pretty far back last time I was here, and it's looking pretty nice today, but next time I'll definitely be focusing a little bit more over here, maybe just half hour in the morning or in the afternoon. Gonna bounce around because there's always one small thing that I can't get to at this property. But yep, that I believe is all for now. Yes, thanks.